Chevrolet's choice to move the Corvette's motor has caused not a limited quantity of debate. While the fans on the past couple of pages appear to be tolerating, others are noisily contemplating whether the C8 can truly be a Vette subsequent to surrendering 70 years of front-engine custom. However, the US firm isn't the first to play with an attempted and tried recipe chasing after more noteworthy execution or benefit, or both. Here are 10 models that have voyaged an also disagreeable way with differing levels of accomplishment. Number 1. Lotus Elan, M100. At the point when a vehicle producer resuscitates a renowned name, it generally does as such with a solid portion of regard for its set of experiences. Not so Lotus when it relaunched the Elan in 1989, 14 years after Colin Chapman's agile form last showed up. Out went the exemplary front engine, normally suctioned, clearly, and back tire drive format, and in came front-wheel drive and turbocharging. The new Elan was really breaking to drive, however Lotus supporters were not exactly dazzled. Furthermore, there was the Mazda MX-5. Dispatched simultaneously, it was less expensive and, unexpectedly, very nearly a duplicate of the first Elan. Number 2. Turbocharged Honda VTECHonda has for quite some time been a firm stance type of normally suctioned motors. For example, the VTEC units in a long queue of Civic Type R hot portals that stayed with characteristic goal long after contenders went turbocharged. However, it wasn't some time before the Honda looked frail kneed close to rivals, so the inconceivable occurred in 2014 and the Civic's VTEC acquired constrained enlistment. Execution gains were gigantic, yet a portion of the enchantment was lost. Honda catches on quickly, however, and the most recent blown Type R is the awesome. Number 3. Porsche Cayenne. Almost a fourth of a century on, it's not difficult to fail to remember exactly how disputable the main Cayenne truly was. Porsche was a colored in the fleece sports vehicle producer, and to try and be contemplating the chance of quite possibly making a SUV was blasphemy, particularly one that would proceed to have a diesel motor. There was no point of reference for this vehicle and, purportedly, no craving for it among extremists of Zuffenhausen's standard contributions. However, as we currently know, the Cayenne was an enormous deals hit, assisting Porsche with riding the early SUV wave and on to already unheard of benefit. Number 4. Volkswagen K70. It very well may be difficult to break liberated from plan authoritative opinion, and, for quite a long time, VW adhered to its attempted and tried equation of throwing an air-cooled motor behind the back pivot. By the last part of the 1960s, notwithstanding, VW was by and large gave up industrially and actually, so an unrest was required. Step forward the K70. In light of the NSUR 080, it tore up the VW playbook by including front-wheel drive and a water-cooled inline motor. Rust issues and excessive costs implied it was fleeting, yet the Passat, Golf and Polo that followed utilized a similar design to radiantly fruitful impact. Number 5. 2 WD Land Rovers. At the point when your items are firmly weaved in four-wheel drive legends and your best promoted slogan is the best 4x4 by a wide margin, at that point going two-wheel drive ought to be a no-no. However, that is how Land Rover managed its Freelander 2ED4 in 2011. Pointed toward bringing down discharges and running expenses, it abstained from the standard vehicle's prop shaft and back differential. Yet it held terrain response and mud and snow tires, making it as compelling rough terrain as a portion of its all-wheel drive rivals. It was effective to the point that it generated comparative range Rover, Evoque and Discovery Sport models. Number 6. Portage. A large portion of the models here are of individual vehicles at the same time. In the previous year alone, Ford has messed around with its legacy. First up was the Puma, which applied the name of a much-cherished 1990s car to a hybrid. There was obstruction from certain quarters at the same time. In numerous regards, the new vehicle holds the carefree soul of its archetype. Likely more hard to swallow will be the Mustang Mach-E, which is planning to channel the embodiment of the company's acclaimed muscle vehicle into an all-electric SUV. Portage will trust it doesn't commit a similar error as when it applied the 1,800 rupees moniker from its meeting-winning and bespoke fabricated Escort Mk2 to a tarted-up Fiesta. Number 7. Front-wheel drive BMWs. BMW trusted you were unable to profess to create a definitive driving machine, except if you made your vehicles back tire drive. For quite a long time, even its littlest models sent capacity to the back. At that point in 2014, it dispatched the front-wheel drive 2 Series Active Tourer, in light of similar stage as the Mini. BMW fans were just somewhat disturbed in light of the fact that, all things considered, it was only a MPV. At that point came the stunner in 2019 when the 1 Series abandoned back to front-wheel drive. Be that as it may, regardless of cries of mocking from certain quarters, the switch hasn't hurt the vehicle's drawing and driving elements. Number 8. Porsche 718. Porsche has the most amazing aspect of 80 years of involvement in 4-chamber motors. However, that didn't stop idealists getting incredibly angry when the 718 Boxster and Cayman were dispatched in 2015. By dumping the crying level 6s of past ages for turbocharged level 4s, Porsche endured a shot, both fundamentally and economically. At first, the brand stood firm, yet before long plans were set up to get the arrival of the normally suctioned 6. The outcome was the Cayman GT4 and Boxster Spider, which were quickly followed for this present year by the GTS 4.0. Number 9. Skoda. Favorit. Like VW, Skoda appeared to be cheerfully married to a back-engined equation for quite a long time. In any case, with the Iron Curtain disintegrating during the 1980s, the firm realized it required an extreme reconsider if it somehow managed to take advantage of rewarding Western business sectors, thus the Favorit was conceived. Its 5 entryway hatchback format and front-wheel drive were progressive for the Czech brand. However, on account of some assistance from Porsche, indeed, truly, Bertoni and British firm Ricardo, it ended up being an unexpected hit. Indeed, it was such a triumph that its kindred follower to the back-engined rules, VW, purchased the organization. Number 10. Volvo 850. Volvo's 700 arrangement vehicles essentially saved the organization after they were dispatched in 1982. So you'd anticipate that the Swedes should have adhered to a similar reasonable format for their substitution. In any case, square-shaped styling aside, the 850 fashioned a strong new way for large Volvos. It was the main huge model to get front-wheel drive, and it had crossover 5-chamber motors that jumped at the chance to turn and sing. Maybe generally stunning, it was really enjoyable to drive, and the singing T5s were lover vehicles. It was an immense deals hit and shook off the brand's sullen picture, preparing for its present ice-cool machines.